What's up everybody, Super here from Mustang Weekly Update number 21 on this Friday. So again, I'm not in the Mustang again. I have a press car and so I'm giving the Mustang a rest. But important things to mention. First is I did get the snow tires taken off and I have the all seasons back on. The second thing though is although the Mustang is resting for now, I will be taking it on a road trip here next week, which means I'm not totally sure there's going to be a weekly update next week. I'm going to try to do one if I can, but I will be out of town, and so doing it on the go is going to be kind of tricky, but I will make my best effort to try and get one up for next Friday. But if not, that's why I will be in the Virginia Beach area, not for any kind of car reviews or anything like that, just my friend has an important event coming up and I need to be there for that, so I'll be making the trip out there, and so that's a fun 7-hour drive. The Mustang's such a good road tripping car that it's going to be a lot of fun, I think. So that's it as far as the Mustang's concerned. So the main thing I want to just mention here before I get into the news is, of course, everyone's been talking about Jeremy Clarkson being fired this week, and I very briefly want to give my few remarks. I don't want to stir up any kind of arguments or anything because I know that this is a polarizing issue and I've heard many different opinions from both sides on the whole matter, but I think that James May kind of summed it up best whenever he was interviewed outside of his house when it happened on Wednesday. And he said that, you know, it was a minor dust up. You know, he said it's a fight that, you know, Jeremy Clarkson threw a punch, there was an argument, and it was something that should have just been a minor thing that should have been handled with fines or a suspension or, you know, lawsuits if, you know, the guy wanted to press charges. But from my understanding, the guy that was assaulted didn't even report it. And that, I think, speaks volumes as well. But I feel like people are being really rough on him. I mean, there are lots of people supporting him. I mean, there was a petition signed that was delivered by a tank to the BBC, you know, that over 1 million people, myself included, signed to reinstate him, and that didn't happen. But, you know, it is what it is, you know, and unfortunately it happened, and it's just at this point now trying to make the best of it from, you know, this point going forward. And I think James May, in his interview, he kind of suggested that he really wants to work with Jeremy Clarkson and they're kind of a package deal, is what he said. And I think Richard Hammond agrees. So I'm sure we'll see all three of them go to another network for another car show, and we'll have more Jeremy Clarkson in cars very soon. But, you know, it's kind of unfortunate though, because Top Gear was always my favorite show. It's one of the shows that inspired me to make this channel and to do car reviews myself. I always looked at their car reviews and their sweet opening sequences as inspiration for my own opening sequences for the car reviews and all that kind of stuff. And so it definitely it was a sad day when that happened. So, you know, I know the BBC said they're going to continue Top Gear. They're planning on doing it again for 2016. Of course, it would probably have an entirely new cast. Who knows how well that would go over, but I think everyone kind of is in agreement that Top Gear isn't Top Gear without Jeremy Clarkson, James May, and Richard Hammond. And so, yeah, it is what it is. But in some more positive news, I'll move on to the other news. Before I get to car news, though, one other quick thing. Vin Diesel, this week, he named his daughter Pauline. He just had a new daughter come into the world and named her Pauline after Paul Walker, of course. And that's really cool and very exciting. You know, of course, Fast and Furious 7 comes out here next week, and very excited to see that, as I'm sure all of you are as well. Alright, so for the car news this week, first is Jaguar unveiled their brand new 2016 Jaguar XF. And it's beautiful. So, you know, the front end is very aggressive, and, you know, the promotional pictures are here in the S trim, which is going to be the, you know, faster trim, but it looks really good. You know, it does look like a larger version of the XE, but it looks, the proportions of this car are just very nice. It looks really sweet, and it's going to be a big improvement over the previous XF. So, you know, it's lost some weight by 132 pounds for the rear-wheel drive model and 265 pounds for the all-wheel drive version. And, you know, in typical Jaguar fashion, I'm sure it's going to come in lots and lots of variants in the future. But right now, they're saying that they mentioned there's a 340 horsepower and a 380 horsepower version, which are both engines straight out of the F-Type, you know, the base 2 V6 engines that will be in here. Of course, we'll see the V8 eventually, because Jaguar is awesome like that, and they give us everything we always want and more. So that is very exciting to see the new XF. I think it looks spectacular. And in other Jaguar news, they also announced the 2016 F-Type is going to have a better warranty, and it adds some standard equipment. So, the complimentary service on the Jaguars used to just be 1 year, but now Jaguar says that they'll give you free 5 years or 60,000 miles of free maintenance for the cars. In addition to that, the warranty for the car has been upgraded to 5 years or 50,000 miles as well. So that's always great to hear, you know, for those that were concerned about Jaguar, you know, reliability issues, you know, you now don't have to worry, at least for 5 years, which is very cool. And as far as the standard equipment they're adding, for 2016, things that used to be options are now standard. That includes the 770 watt Meridian stereo, Sirius satellite radio, a smart key, the 14-way power seats, and then on the hardtop models, they all come with a glass roof now, which I think is awesome because it looked amazing with the glass roof. And now also they said that the S models get the standard dynamic mode, that used to be an option, and they also all come with a flat bottom wheel, and the active exhaust system is now standard, which makes sense because I'm sure everyone wanted that option anyway. So yeah, that's very cool. And of course for 2016, the R model, you know, the F-Type R, is going to be all-wheel drive as standard, and it won't be in rear-wheel drive, which I mentioned several months ago as being a little bit of a disappointment because I think in rear-wheel drive it's awesome, but I think the all-wheel drive system is still rear-wheel drive biased, so we'll still oversteer and stuff, but yeah, very awesome. And the great thing is the base price hasn't even changed, even with all these great additions. The automatic version has been kicked up $1,300, but nothing to really complain about. So that's awesome to see. And other Jaguar news, all kinds of good stuff. Jaguar is developing the new F-Type hardcore version, whatever it's going to be called, and they're saying that 600 horsepower is possible, and there's just some spy shots of it running around. Looks mostly like a standard F-Type for now, you know, but I'm sure, you know, it amazes me that Jaguar constantly blows our minds. They're always developing sweeter and sweeter versions. They are like a model for like all the automotive industry. I mean, like, Subaru won't even give us a turbo in the BRZ after 3 or 4 years of it being out. Whereas the F-Type, we already have like 5 different engines to choose from and all kinds of glorious variants. It's really amazing. It's wonderful. And it's very exciting to see. And in the more eco-friendly side of Jaguar, there was spied an XE that had a funny badge on the back. And it's a blue E badge. And people are thinking this is going to be an electric version of the XE to possibly compete against the new Tesla Model 3 that'll be coming out very soon, and all the other electric cars that we're soon to get here. And another interesting thing is Jaguar has also put a trademark on the EV type name. So definitely an electric car coming from Jaguar very soon, I'm sure, and that's awesome to see. And this company called Lions Motor Car is showing off this new car they made called the LM2 Streamliner, which looks pretty sweet, I will say. But who knows if this thing is actually ever going to be built, like a lot of these crazy hypercars by these random, you know, one-off companies. This one they're saying is going to have a twin-turbo V8 that makes 1,700 horsepower and 1,610 pounds-feet of torque. And they said that it's all channeled to the wheels via a 7-speed DSG transmission. And they're saying that 0 to 60 time is 2.2 seconds, and 0 to 100 takes 4.1 seconds, which seems pretty unrealistic. And yeah, I really don't think you should hold your breath for this car, because sounds pretty crazy. I don't think they'll be able to even get the power down well enough to do a 2.2 seconds 0 to 60, but I could be wrong. But anyway, so for some more solid news, Mercedes officially unveiled the new Mercedes-Benz GLE that is going to be debuted at the New York Auto Show, but they showed us all the pictures early, and looks pretty good. I mean, you know, it's supposed to like kind of take the place for the ML, and I think it definitely looks very aggressive. You know, the press pictures here are for the AMG version, but, you know, it looks really good. I gotta say, though, it does look a little bit too much like the ML. I was expecting the GLE to be more swoopy and have, you know, a little bit more aggressive roofline than this does. But interesting to see that, though, and And other good news, Cadillac, they just officially said that the ATS-V was underrated before as far as the horsepower. They originally said that it does 455 horsepower, but they said that it's actually been SAE certified to do 464 horsepower. So it's more powerful than an M3, and it's right up there with the regular version of the C63 AMG. And really going to be an impressive car. I think it's going to give the Europeans a real run for their money, and that thing, and it looks amazing, of course, so very excited to see those out and about running around. Other good Cadillac news, you know, the CT6 that will be coming out here at New York as well. They officially said that the twin-turbo V6 engine that's going to be in the car makes 400 horsepower, which sounds great to me, and 400 pound-feet of torque as well. So, very, very exciting. Of course, there's going to be probably hotter engines and maybe even some more fuel-efficient ones as well, but that's a great starter engine for sure. In other news, Chevy has officially announced that the new Malibu that we'll be seeing here at the New York Auto Show, it'll have a 45 mile per gallon hybrid version that it's going to be pretty impressive. They said it'll go up to 55 miles per hour on electric power only. Very, very impressive, and exciting to see how it looks whenever we finally get to see it in New York here. In some other exciting news, this is a rumor here, there's a rumor that Lincoln's working on a new Continental concept, and the reason why is there was this random website that was put up that looks official, and it has all this marketing talk about this new amazing Continental concept and how, you know, they didn't leave any question unanswered, they didn't leave any stone unturned, you know, they really worked hard on it and all this kind of stuff. So, maybe we'll see a new Lincoln Continental at New York. That would be amazing. Please make it look retro and elegant and grand. Kind of like, you know, the Mirage and stuff, because I think that would be really great for them to have a competitor to the Cadillac CT6. And so, fingers crossed that Lincoln makes some gorgeous looking, full-size, huge sedan. That would be amazing. And, yeah. Also, in other Ford news, it was officially announced that the Ford Focus RS will be on sale in the spring of 2016. So we have an entire year to wait for it, which seems like an eternity. I think we're all super excited for the Focus RS. But good things take time sometimes, and so have to wait another year for that. But exciting, exciting stuff. Also, it looks like Dodge and Fiat might be working on a new mid-size pickup. Obviously, with the Chevy Colorado being so popular and everyone buying those things faster than they can make them, it's, I think, apparent to everyone else that they need to be in the mid-size pickup market. And so Ram and Fiat have been working on this. Obviously, there's this mule that's out running around and very heavily camouflaged, so who knows what it's going to look like. But, hey, the more competition, the better, right? So great to see that, and who knows when we'll end up seeing the whole thing. And, you know, McLaren's been teasing this new sports series. Every single week there's been a new thing that came out in the teasers for, you know, the New York debut that we'll be seeing here in a couple days, actually. But the final teaser probably here, McLaren, they confirmed that the car is going to be called the 570S Coupe. And they also gave us a new teaser image. So we have the door, and now we have like the rear quarter panel and this flying buttress that there is there in the rear, which holds a lot of promise. I love when cars have those. I'm very excited to see this whole thing. As you might have guessed, it's, you know, the same twin-turbo V8. 570S comes from the engine having 562 horsepower, which is 570 PS probably. 562 horsepower according to you know, English standards here. And yeah, it's going to be very, very impressive little car. So can't wait for the full details on that. Also, Mercedes they're out testing their new E-Class, which according to reports here is going to get a quad turbo. That's right, 4-turbo inline 6. If that doesn't sound like a reliability nightmare to you, it certainly does to me. That quad turbo. The only other car I know the quad turbo from the factory is the Bugatti Veyron, which of course is probably an expensive thing to maintain. So, but that is what they're saying. I don't know why you would do that, but they are. But they also said it's going to have augmented reality, which means that, you know, the heads-up displays and things that, you know, we've seen obviously on GM products and BMWs and stuff like that over the years will probably be making an appearance here, but it'll be even taken to the next level where it's going to have all kinds of other things, like they said it'll have phone-controlled self-parking and all kinds of other cool things. So exciting to see that. Also, Land Rover announced a new limited edition 380 horsepower Range Rover HST. So, you know, I guess some people, you know, they miss the old V8s that the Range Rover had, the naturally aspirated one, that is. Well, now they're offering, it's basically the F-Type V6S engine, which is 380 horsepower. They're putting it in this Range Rover to give it a little bump over the standard 340 horsepower that they normally have. So that's cool. Looks great in that red color as well. Also, another quick thing, Aston Martin renamed the Vantage GT3 that was just released a few weeks ago because Porsche got all mad and said, hey, GT3, that's our name. So they have redesignated the model, even though that makes sense, you know, with the GT3 racing series. And so now it's called the GT12. So there's that. Porsche clearly won that one. Also, Lotus announced a new version of the Exige S Club Racer, but of course we don't get those in America anymore, so that is a UK-only deal. Very cool. Other news, the 2015 Saleen 302 Black Label Mustang was unveiled. It looks great, has 730 horsepower, but the company is in some really rough financial places right now, and they're also, if you follow Jalopnik, they wrote a very mean email to Jalopnik, and so I'm not totally behind that car just because of its uncertain future and the fact that the people running the company don't seem very nice. And then the last three things here very quickly are that the Lexus RX was teased, and here's a teaser shot. We'll see more at New York. Also, Toyota is confirmed a new RAV4 hybrid, and there's a teaser shot of that. And lastly, Honda has said that they're going to import the Euro market Civic hatch to America after all, which could give some hope to those that are hoping for the Type R here in America. So it looks like the one plant in the UK that makes the Honda Civic hatchback, they all of a sudden, one of the cars they were producing is no longer being produced there, so they have all this extra room in the factory and they have all this production capacity. They could be doing more of these cars, but they weren't. So Honda says that, well, you know what? We don't have a competitor to the Golf. We don't even have a small hatchback aside from the actual crossovers. So they're like, hey, you know what? Let's try and re-engineer this car for America and bring them here. And I think they're doing this because they know everyone wants the Type R, and I think they may actually be listening to us, which is amazing and so exciting. So everybody wins. They'll build more of these cars, more jobs for these guys in the UK building them, and Honda is using up a plant that they were underutilizing before, and in return, one, they get an awesome Golf competitor, which they haven't had in a long time, a good, proper, small hatchback, which is a win. And, of course, that means if you can bring the normal hatchback version here, you can also bring the Type R. I don't know when all of this is going to happen, but it looks like it actually may happen. And hallelujah, I'm so glad. I cannot wait. I hope the Type R is brought over here, and brought over here as quick as possible, because the second those can get here, the better off we'll all be in America. So very cool to see that, and bravo Honda. It's nothing official, nothing confirmed yet, but it looks like this may actually be coming to happen. So awesome, awesome, awesome. So that's it for all the news this week, guys. So thank you so much again for watching the weekly update. And like I said, may or may not have a weekly update next week. We'll see. Thank you guys so much for all of your support, as always. Thank you so much for your support on the Colorado review this week. And yeah, more great videos to come over the weekend and this week. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.